Hey guys, so welcome to Brian's Man Cave, and I'm going to be doing some more live streaming. This one is a game I played a while ago. It's Robocop on the Nintendo. Now, I know it's not as good as some of the other Robocop games out there. I enjoyed playing it in the arcade. I probably spent a ton of quarters on it actually in the arcade. Um, and I do have the emulator for that as well, MAME emulator. I don't know if I can get it to stream or not. I might have a hard time on that one. But for this one, it's just a Nintendo one. And I used to be able to play this and complete it all the time. Actually, it's been a long time since I actually really tried to play this game. So hopefully I remember what I'm doing. I'm just not, probably not going to be as good as I used to be. But whatever. I mean, it's Nintendo. Most of the games on Nintendo are like that. If you don't play them, if you kind of put them away for a long time and then try and jump back into them, they really kick your butt. So I'm just going to get right into it. And hopefully if some people jump on, and you're welcome to chat. I got my other computer set up here, so if people start to chat or say anything, I can probably look over every 5 seconds and maybe answer some questions or chat. Anyways, I'm going to share my screen. Yes, I'm still doing it this way for now. Just going to get in there. We got the start screen kicking in. Actually, the you know, it's not a bad start screen. I mean, it looks like the Robocop seal to me. It gives you all this stuff from the movie. I mean, they try to copy the movie, but I mean, this game really didn't do too well doing that. But whatever. So let's get a start going on here. So I'm going to start. Pretty interesting animations right up to this point. Looks like Robocop. He's kind of blue though. He's not. He doesn't look silver. He looks blue. Okay. Now, from what I remember, you start the game without your gun, which is you're gonna blow up everything. It's very similar to the arcade in a sense. I mean, even the Commodore 64 version of Robocop, what I used to play, which is really hard compared to this. I mean, they're all kind of similar. They all kind of play similar. That guy who just comes flying in with his little fly kick. There we go. Now I got my gun. Doesn't sound like his gun. It kind of does, but I guess it's sort of like it. Stupid dogs everywhere. I think I'm in a junkyard or something. I don't know where they got the motivation to use a dog. Trying to remember if there was any case of any dogs in the movies, or in the first movie anyway. I don't remember. I don't think so. I think it just it's a good character, I guess, to throw at you, make it hard to get because it jumps so fast. Of course, there's the Data East advertising, which they did in a lot of their games. Oh yeah, this weird guy. I think you just gotta pummel him with your fists. I don't know who this guy's supposed to be. Obviously, he wasn't in the movie. Just die. Die already. Die. Looks like he's wearing some kind of like futuristic sports equipment. City Hall. So they chose this scene. Well, not really scene, but I guess they chose the City Hall from in the movie when he goes in to rescue, I think, the mayor or someone. He's got the ex-mayor guy. He's got someone held hostage or something like that. Ex-politician guy. He's holding some people hostage, and he wants his job back. And Robocop just comes in, uses his heat-seeking or his heat sensor so he can see through the walls, busts the wall open, drags the guy out, punches him out the window. Brilliant scene. I just love in that scene too when the cameras, like the media, they like literally zoom in on the guy as he falls from the window, and then they zoom in on him on the ground, like any media would ever do that today, right? Because yeah, that would just not look good. I mean, everything gets censored now, and if they tried to show stuff like that on the news, people would be really upset. But of course, this, future. Right? Oh yeah, I can go in these rooms. See, that's what happens when you don't play this game in a while. I thought that those doors were just decoration. But that happens a lot in Nintendo games where you can't tell the difference between the decorations and the or not decorations, just background graphics and something you can actually walk through or jump on. Or I don't know if there's anything in any of these rooms. I know I grabbed that other weapon. I think the thing that got me wanting to play Robocop right now was I read online that supposedly the director of the first film wants to make another movie, another Robocop movie, but from the original series, from the one with Peter Weller in it, punching the wall, almost like a continuation to the original movie, ignoring part 2 and part 3, and that TV series that came out. Uh-oh. Can I kill this thing? Oh, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. I died. Game over. Oh. Let's start again. All the way at the beginning? Oh, maybe I should hit continue. I think maybe that would work. Oh well. Back to the start. Yeah, so anyways, he was, the article was stating that the director wants to do a proper sequel to the original, which kind of raised a lot of questions to me. I mean, first of all, Robocop came out in what, 87, I think it was? 88, 87, 86, somewhere around there. Long time ago. Maybe even 88, I don't know. And now we're in 2018. So how's that going to work? I mean, is he planning on just taking that futuristic time and going, like a good 30 years into the future in that one? And, Robocop himself, I mean, well, Peter Weller, I should say, the actor, he's in his, he's got to be like 70s or something, 60s. He's not in any shape to be, Robocop. Of course, that does bring on a good question, is age. I mean, he's part man, part machine, right? So, the man part of him, you would think would start to age, like he's got his brain in there. But when he shows signs of age, I mean, his body's metal. Especially the reboot Robocop, where it's he's literally wearing a body suit, essentially. And it's his heart and his lungs and all that are real or human. And ouch, I'm losing here. So, like, that's a good question. Would Robocop have aged? I remember even in Robocop 2. Ouch. Losing here. In Robocop 2, there was a scene where they take him apart. They literally destroy him, and then he gets put back together. So as you can see, I'm not doing too well. Did better that first round. Maybe next time I'll try the Commodore 64 one again. And I know that you can only get so far in that one before it's almost impossible. Like when you get to the steel mill, I think it is, they don't give you enough time to actually complete the game. I remember playing it with my friend, and we figured out some kind of weird, I don't know if it's a bug or a cheat or something, where you can actually like make Robocop walk through the walls, and then you can complete it. But if you try and do it legit, where you climb up the stairs and all that stuff and try and get to the end, you literally run out of time. It's like not possible. I've heard there's like patches or something for it. Food. Of course, they keep that whole thing of he eats baby food through this game. There's an interesting touch in the movie where they have him eating baby food. Of course, yeah, I don't think you ever see him eat the food in the movie. I think he just, you know, you see one of the other employees for OCP. He tries it and says it tastes like baby food. So whether it actually is baby food or not, I don't know. They kind of put it in baby food jars. Okay, back to City Hall. I wonder why they decided to give you food right at the beginning there. Kind of an odd choice. Ouch. Music's okay. I mean, it's one of those things that just constantly loops. It's the Robocop theme, though. At least it's not like, you know, some of the LJN games where they have music or whatever that has nothing to do with the game or the film or anything. You just kind of like make up this crappy 8-bit song. Oh. Food. Guess he puts his gun away because he's in a city building and he doesn't want to be walking around with his gun. I don't know. Why would he put his gun away? But then he finds this nice weapon. How do I use that? Oh, yeah. I don't really like that one anyways. It sucks that I can't shoot. Oh. It is weird these people are just like running up and punching Robocop. I mean, if you remember the movie, what's his face? One of the criminals, one of the bad guys. He tries to punch Robocop or kick him or something, and he just hurts himself. He's got a titanium body. You're not going to do much if you punch him. Look at this, I have to be fast. Yeah. Okay. I got to shoot when he ducks. Oops. Ow. Okay. There we go. I think at one point he lets go of him, then you have to just like punch him or something. Here. I like how he just flops away like he's like some fish. Oh, training mode. I remember this. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, pushing the wrong button. I remember I used to be really good at this. Almost like perfect most of the time. I like in the arcade version though, where it gives you the crosshairs. It really looks like his targeting system. This plus sign thing doesn't look like anything Robocop really used. 18 targets. Could have done better. Oh, Billy O says he's never played this one before. I remember renting this, actually, before I even owned it. I remember renting it. Long time ago. And then I ended up buying it, I think, used. I think most of my Nintendo games I bought used. Ouch. This is the same kind of level that I was talking about in the Commodore 64, if you were watching earlier. Where in the Commodore 64 version, this level is almost impossible because you run out of time. It's the same kind of level, though. I mean, it's the same concept. You're going through this. This is where, I believe this is in the movie when he goes in to arrest everybody for the cocaine thing. One of the better scenes in the movies, I think. With Clarence Bodiger. Oh, I think there's food up there. There she go. Ow. So Rex is saying the only Robocop games worse than this is Part 2 and Part 3. No, actually, come to think of it, I've never played them. I think for that reason, I think they don't look that good. Remember, too, there's like a Robocop versus Terminator. I think that's on the SNES, though. I remember seeing something like that. Keeps putting his gun away. I don't understand that. What's the point of that? Just to make the game challenging, I guess. Not sure where I'm supposed to go. I can't remember. I just gotta keep going down or something. Guys are just getting annoying. I always find going up the stairs. Well, this game too. I mean, this game and Castlevania, I should say, always give you a hard time going up those stairs like that. Okay, where am I? Oh, elevator. Okay. What was here? I mean, what am I going to be running into now? Uh-oh. Like I said, the arcade version is definitely better. But I mean, it's a quarter eater. I don't know what you want to call it. Crap. That must be Clarence Bodiger. I'm just gonna stand here and hope I can shoot these guys. These guys can sustain a lot of bullets. Ugh. Genesis has one as well, but you hate it. See what happens if I continue. There we go. Guess I didn't have to start off at the beginning again. This is definitely, in the movie, one of my more favorite scenes. When he goes into there, he just like takes everybody apart. And he throws Clarence Bodiger through those glass walls, or doors, or whatever they are. That's the stuff that was totally missing from the reboot. Was scenes like that. There was nothing in that movie that really stood out to be like, you know, impressive or fun, or I mean, they just kind of took it too seriously. As serious as you can take a movie like this, anyways. And I think that's why there's talk of the director wanting to do another one based on the original series, because the reboot just took away a lot of the stuff that made the game, or made the movie what it was. Yeah, sure, the violence was there, but I think also that campy joke that they had, you know, things like Ed 209 when he shot that guy a bazillion times and literally filled him full of holes, and the one guy yells, "Get a paramedic," as if that's going to do anything. Like they're going to put this guy back together. He was in pieces. You know, that's the kind of humor that they kind of left out. Very subtle humor that made Robocop what it is. Oh. Oops. Where are you going? Yeah, it was almost pointless for him to put his gun away there. It just made no sense. Yeah, I'd buy that for $1. That's for sure. And they said something in the new movie, or in the reboot movie, about, you know, I think it was what was the guy that was behind the armory? He said something like, "I wouldn't buy that for $1," or something like that, trying to reference that scene, or pay homage to it. I'm gonna mash buttons and hope I can get these guys before they get me. Ow. I think I'm gonna die here. These guys are hard, I don't know. Nothing's killing them. Well, that wasn't fun. Maybe I should try the other machine gun. What I need is that Cobra gun. Well, that's what I need. State of the art, bang bang. Another great scene in the movie when Clarence brings the Cobra gun out, and Emil's like, "Oh, I like it." And they like blow up pretty much everything on the street. I didn't mind Robocop 2, the movie, even though I never played the game. But the movie wasn't too bad. I mean, I was excited when I saw the preview for it. I remember I went to the movies, and it was on one of the coming attractions, and I was so excited to see that. Like, I was so excited to see that Robocop was having a sequel. Even though I'm sure at that time I wasn't able to see it in theater because I still wasn't able to get into an R-rated movie. Where I am, anyways, in Canada, at that time to get into the R-rated movies, you had to be 18 or over, and I wasn't 18, so I couldn't get in. But I ended up renting it anyways. Same with the Robocop 1. I was so disappointed when I wanted to see that movie when I was a kid, and I couldn't because I was too young. So I had to wait until it was out on VHS or whatever, you know, go to the rental store and rent it. Because there's probably a good reason for that. I think that movie kind of traumatized me a bit. You know, first time I saw Ed 209 tear that guy apart, that was pretty traumatizing. Let's not forget when Emil drives into that vat of toxic waste. Looks like one of the Walking Dead after that. Literally, his body just like melts in front of you. Let me get this. I think for, yeah, let's give that weapon a shot. I don't know if it'll work, but I think it has a, yeah, you got a certain number of bullets on that one though. This guy's annoying. Now, let's give this a shot. See if this weapon does any better. It's like, holy, just like, how many bullets did I just unload into that guy before he finally died? What is he wearing? Dick Jones. Oh yeah, these robot things. Now, if I was playing the arcade version, I probably would have had to use like several continued. Well, it's not really continued. You really just have to keep feeding the machine essentially. You got to keep putting in quarters. And I realized that when I first started playing Robocop on the emulator, because you know, playing it in the arcades back in the day, it would take a ton of quarters, and I would only get about maybe halfway through the game. So when I started playing it on the emulator, and I realized, like, when you get to the junkyard, I think it is, there's so many enemies coming after you. It's insane. And it's like a quarter every second. And it's like, if you do the math, you're like, wow, I would have had to spend a lot of money to get through that. But isn't that how they made arcade games back then? Was, you know, all about getting the quarters? Look at something like Donkey Kong. Most people can't even make it past the first board. Uh-oh. What do I have to do? I'm dying here. I'm dying. Oh, I have to shoot it, don't I? Okay, this isn't good. Totally can't remember. Yeesh. Challenge again. Not sure if this game runs out of continues or not. I know some games are like that. They give you so many continues and then you're done. You've got to go back to the beginning. Oh. Yes, and I'm using my RetroLink NES copied controller, which is a much lighter plastic, and the buttons aren't as good. I'm starting to notice my A button keeps sticking, which is not good because that's your primary button. Probably why it's sticking. I think I killed this controller when I did that Super Mario Brothers 3 live play for like 4 hours, just constantly working on this button. I think I pretty much killed it then. I know some people buy those adapters where you can actually plug a real Nintendo controller into your computer. Then again, my NES controllers, they're getting on in age and probably not the greatest shape. So now I have to remember how to get by this thing. I think I shoot it or something. Yeah, that works. Well, at least they're decent enough to give us some food after that. How nice of them. Okay. Keep shooting into the floor. Oh, there's a guy with a cobra gun or something. You don't get to pick it up. I think in the arcade when they come out with the cobra guns and you kill them, they drop it and you can pick it up. What's this? Am I even doing anything to this thing? This is just weird. No, die! Whatever you are, go away. I don't think you can punch it, can you? What the? It's killing me. It just killed me. This is why this game is bad. Okay. Come on, you. You gonna work? Doesn't look like it wants to. Maybe it's over now. Oh, are you telling me it's already over and I have to start again? Okay. Well, since that was a wash, let's do I'm just going to go into my stuff here. Which one was it? Ah, down there. Let's try the Commodore 64 one while I'm at it. I think mine works. Attach disk image. Just for fun. Oh, wait a minute. I know what I have to do. I don't think I can use this controller with this emulator, so I'm just going to have to switch. Because this one doesn't work. Just take a second here. Just because I haven't played this one in a while, and it's kind of fun, kind of annoying at the same time. I hope it recognizes this joystick. I think it does. Last time I used the 64 emulator. Let's give this a shot now. Start the game. Even though it's an emulator, it still feels like it has to load in everything. Unlimited power, yes or no? No. Okay, so got the scores there. Let's see if this works. You can do it. Maybe it's my joystick. Swap joystick. This is the problem with emulators. Nothing works properly. Well, this isn't good. There we go. Huh. Knew I had to do something there. So it gives an attempt at a speech thing where it says Robocop. Ouch. You can see this is very, yeah. I mean, the graphics are very iffy. You can kind of make out what it is. Now the food in this one just shows up at random, or at certain areas it just kind of shows up and you have to get it or else it disappears. You can see it's kind of the same kind of game. This one tries to be a little bit more like the arcade version, but still, I mean, as good as they can get it anyways. I mean, the one thing that the arcade gives you right off the bat is when you get to the end, you get to face Ed 209 on the first level. This one, or, well, the Nintendo one, you don't get to face Ed 209 for a while. And this one, I think you face Ed 209 at the end, and it's really weird. Now the problems with this one is that he's really weak. I mean, every little thing just kills him. He's worse than the his NES counterpart. So yeah, if you just tuned in now and you're wondering what I'm doing, this is the Commodore 64 version of Robocop. After I just played the Nintendo version, just to see some contrast here and see how they are. Didn't get that. Things disappear too quickly too. That's the other problem with this game. These little bonuses and things that fall down and the food, if you don't get it right away, you lose it. As you can see, I'm having a hard time just getting past the first level. These guys die and then they materialize again. But I mean, the format of this is a little bit more closely to the arcade in the way that they're hanging out the windows like this. That's exactly how the arcade is. It's weird how these guys, when they fall, they literally explode into a gelatinous goo. Another thing is, you just have your gun. In the Nintendo one, it keeps switching between his fists and the gun. So you always have the gun on this one. It's just a case of which bullets, essentially, the gun is shooting. You got this one here, which is like the three-way bullets, which is kind of, I think, one of the better ones because it can like hit multiple people at once. Then you got this one, which is just a stronger bullet compared to your whatever you want to call it, the basic one. This one literally rips through like several guys at the same time. Then when you run out of it, it just goes back to your regular cheapy weapon. Which is odd because in the movie Robocop, his gun is powerful enough. Like he never has to switch weapons. other than when he needs the Cobra gun, I should say, Cobra assault cannon, or whatever you want to call it. He needs that to destroy Ed 209, the one that's guarding the building. Billy O's like, I like how the guys just fall out of the window. Oops. So here's from the movie as well. You know, you need to try and hit him as many times. You have to hit him a certain number of times. I don't know what it is, but you just gotta keep hitting him, not the girl. If you hit her too many times, you die because it takes life away. If you've seen the movie, you're probably familiar with the scene. Another classic scene in the movie where he goes to arrest, or well, it's like basically a rape in progress, and he shows up there to arrest them. He tells them to let the woman go, and of course the guy just grabs her, puts a knife to her, and RoboCop's gonna have none of that. Oh, that guy just ran me over. Yeah, I can put my name in. I don't care. That's my name. And he goes to arrest the guys, and then he has to shoot them, and he ends up shooting the guy in the crotch. And of course, the other guy just like, I'm not having none of that, and drops to the ground, essentially concedes. If you notice, this game doesn't really have continues. I don't think there's a continue. I don't know if there's a way to push down a button or continue off where you left off. I don't think there is. I think you have to go through every single level when you die. Which is bad because they don't give you a whole lot of power to begin with. It's so easy to die in this game. I still remember, like, I think I've only completed this, like, not even a handful of times, and that was a long, long time ago, on a real Commodore 64. And like I said earlier when I was talking about this version, there is a level where it's almost, you cannot complete it, and I think it's the third one. I think it's the third one in. You cannot complete it. It's just not possible. You don't have enough time. It's whoever created this game obviously didn't take into account that you need a certain period of time to walk, and Robocop is very slow. I mean, it's Robocop. He's not supposed to be limber. Well, I mean, I guess he is in the reboot, where he's jumping and, you know, doing a little bit more acrobatics and stuff. He's more tactical, I guess they can say, or whatever, in the reboot. If you like the reboot, that is. Oh. Like, when you hit the girl, it's like, meow. What is she, a cat? A kitten? This guy's taking so many shots and he's still alive. Of course, in the movie, Robocop just does the one shot to his crotch and he's down for the count. But I don't know how many guys would actually be able to handle taking a shot to the crotch. Now there are these stairs here, but again, that's another example of background. They're not stairs you can climb up. You can't go up any levels in this game, as far as I know. This is mimicking more of the arcade. Again. Let's do my name as again. This is the hardness of this game. This is a Commodore 64 game too. I mean, you would think they wouldn't make it so dang hard. At least add a continue to it or something. Like, this is not supposed to be like arcade hard. This should never be arcade hard. Not Commodore. But you know, it's, I guess I'm pretty sure this was Data East that made this one too. I think they made all of them. They probably had exclusive rights or something to make all the Robocop games. And for whatever reason, they said, let's make it bloody hard. As if you'd be pumping quarters into your Commodore 64 and Nintendo. That being said, I do remember when I was, well, I don't know, teenager, going to my cottage, and they had an arcade there. My cottage was near Barrie, Ontario, and they had an arcade there. And I remember one year they had this machine, and it was pretty much just a Nintendo inside a box. Like, it looked like an arcade, essentially, but it was a Nintendo inside of it. And you still had to pay a quarter to play it. And I believe the game was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which just gave me an idea. I should play that one. Anyways, yeah, it was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I know how hard that game is. I mean, it was one of those Nintendo games I played until I completed it. And you essentially, it was on a timer or something like that. So after every so often, you would have to put in another quarter. I'm like, this is robbery. Like, it would cost you like $20 or more in quarters to complete Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And that's if you could complete the game, because I know a lot of people can't. Like, Ninja Turtles is one of those Nintendo games where it's like, yeah, good luck with that. I seem to be losing on these on the motorcycles, so I better pay attention to these motorcycles that come in. They could take a few hits and then they die. I don't want that. Go away. Yes, this weapon, this whatever it is, it shoots a single bullet. Oh, wow. Seriously. The motorcycle just runs you over and kills you. Unlike in the Nintendo version, when I was just playing it, and you know, they hurt you, but they don't kill you just from running over. Something tells me Robocop would be a little bit more resilient than, you know, one motorcycle kills him. And why so much with the motorcycles? I mean, the Nintendo has it, the arcade has it. I'm sure there's that scene in the movie when Emil pulls into the gas station and starts making fun of the gas attendant and tells him to fill it up, and Robocop comes in, and then Emil finds out it's him, and he's like, we killed you, and then he gets on his motorcycle, he tries to drive away after he throws his cigarette into the gasoline. And of course, Robocop's like, screw you, and he ends up killing him anyway, or not killing him, sorry. He, what does he do? He shoots at his motorcycle, knocks him off the bike, picks him up, asks him who he is, and that's the end of that. I mean, Emil doesn't die. We all know how Emil dies. He dies in the toxic waste of death scene, which is awesome. Oh, this looks like maybe if I get the extra bullets, it doesn't change it right away. Oops. He needs to say, let the woman go, you're under arrest. Okay, let's keep going. See if I can pass these motorcycles again. I mean, this is obviously a much harder version than the Nintendo version. I mean, I got pretty far in that version, having not played it in a while. But this one I seem to be struggling. It's these motorcycles. They're killing me. As soon as I see it, I'm just going to blast it. I don't care. Oh my god. I was shooting it too. Let's just see what just seeing what Rex was saying there in the chats. He's talking about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. The arcade game, super easy. Oh, the arcade. Yeah, I remember playing the Ninja Turtles arcade game too. Allows you to play up to like 4 players. You play all 4 of the Ninja Turtles. I love that one. I used to have the ROM. I don't think I have it anymore. I think I had it on my other computer. And it took me a while to get it. I don't know why. It's like one of those ROMs was like really hard to find for some reason. Just another example of a quarter muncher. You like literally every stage there's so many things coming at you. Just constantly killing you, and you have to keep putting in new quarters. You know what's kind of reminds me of the Ninja Turtle game is the Simpson one. Very similar. You choose one of the Simpson characters, and it's the same kind of thing. Everything's just coming at you. Oh, I just died. This game's rather disappointing. I guess that's why they included that option there when I started this. If I want like infinite life or whatever it was, they realize how hard this game is and how frustrated people must be getting. And can you imagine, you know, us back in the day when we bought this and brought it home and tried playing it and was dying on every single friggin' level. Yeah, maybe I should try Ninja Turtles. I mean, it's a tricky game. It's a very hard game. It's a long game to play. That's the other thing. You need the time dedicated to it. Of course, you know, all Nintendo games required some kind of commitment to it. Other than the ones that you can save the game, you know, like Zelda and Dragon Warrior. Of course, you can save them and come back another day. But Ninja Turtles, you just gotta, you know, make sure you have the time to play it. And unlike like Super Mario Brothers 3, where you can take warp zones, because you know Super Mario Brothers 3 is a long game unless you warp. Ninja Turtles doesn't really have that option. You pretty much have to go all the way through it. Okay. Oh. Oh. Hitting a woman. Now let's be honest here. If I hit that woman with my gun, I probably would have taken her head off. But for the sake of gameplay, let's just say everything's okay. I don't think it would be good if, you know, he saves her, but he filled her full of holes, even if she survived. I mean, can you imagine that if you're being held hostage and officer shows up and starts shooting you too? You'd be pretty pissed. Have to do is shoot the hostage and then shoot the perpetrator. Let's see if I can do this. It's a lot of button pushing. That's basically what it is. Mash buttons. Totally mash buttons. What? Wow. Can't even get past that point. All right, let's give her one more go. I'm just going to keep saying, ah! All right, one more time. Last time, I think. Robocop. Commodore 64. I don't know if this game made it onto the like, what is it, ZX Spectrum and Amiga. I think it did. It's probably on all of the popular computers of that day. I wouldn't be surprised if there was like an Apple II or whatever version, or Macintosh, or I don't know, whatever was out at the time. All those computers that people used to play a lot of games on. Let's just kill everything in sight, shall we? I find this three-way weapon is interesting, but oftentimes it misses a lot of people. Like, ran out of weapons. Oh my god. Okay. That was just stupid. Let's just do it one more time. I said that was going to be my last, but I didn't think I was going to die that quickly. I don't like how they materialize too quick. You can't get away from them. They're like going to hit you no matter what. It's like you kill them, and then you start walking, and then they materialize and shoot you. Question what kind of guns these people are using, because I recall Robocop, people shooting him and the bullets were literally bouncing off of him. Actually, if you recall the one scene where he gets ambushed by all the police officers in the underground parking lot, and he takes a pummeling. Like they literally like fill him full of holes. He gets really damaged. But of course they don't kill him. It is weird that they have him jump, like that really serves any purpose. Come on. Alright, back to this again. I don't know why I'm having a hard time on this one, not being able to get past those motorcycles. Before. Oh. Oh. Okay, let's give this one more shot. I would definitely say that this one is a lot harder than the Nintendo one. I mean, when I was playing that one, I definitely got much further. Oh, that's it. I'm done. I'm not punishing myself anymore. Let's end that. I'm just going to turn this off. I don't have to listen to that while I'm chatting here. Anyways, yeah, so that was me playing Robocop NES, and as a bonus, I threw in there Robocop on the Commodore 64. My opinion on both games, not too bad. The Commodore 64 one obviously is a lot more frustrating. Everything kills you, and like I said, you can only get so far in it. you get to that third level. I'm pretty sure it's the third level. It's the one with the the cocaine factory or whatever it is, and kind of like in the Nintendo one when I was playing in that one, where you kind of go up the stairs and you go here and you go there, you go up the stairs and you go down and you go up. They don't give you enough time, and I don't know what happened there. Maybe it was a game that was rushed to production, like they had to get the game out while the movie was still in theaters or whatever. I mean, we're going back into thinking of the Atari ET game, which anybody that's into Atari knows that that's like an infamous game, and that Howard Scott Warshaw had to rush that game, get it out and into the markets, and under the tree for Christmas during the time when ET came out. So we know that a lot of the programmers are put under these constraints, and like a movie comes out, they have to get it all going, they have to get the game going, they have, the big sale of the movie is not just the movie, but it's all of the crap that goes along with it, and that would be the game, the books, the comics, whatever. Just getting all that stuff out there and making the money. So you can understand that things like the Nintendo, when a movie came out, they had to jump right on it. Now, obviously, there's been a lot of movies that were released before the Nintendo that they tried to make games for, and is it LJN, LGN, I don't know, the crappy ones with future games and all that stuff, and it's like, honestly, you wonder if they even watched the movie. It's like they just gave them the title of the movie. They're like, this is the movie. It's about this. Make a game, and then they just go and make a game. At least with Robocop, they threw in some elements of the movie. They had the soundtrack, which was cool. But there was a lot of odd things in there that didn't kind of make sense. They tried to find it. I guess they tried to do it a little bit chronological. The fact that he starts off in that one area and then he goes in and he has to stop the guy who's trying to rape the woman, which then goes into the cocaine area, which then you meet Clarence Boddicker, kind of, that kind of idea. So they kind of tried to follow that through. Even in the arcade. Now, the thing that was different with the arcade that I remember anyways, is that at the end of the first stage, the very first stage when you play, the very first boss essentially you meet is Ed 209. And he comes out and he like literally shoots at you, and you just gotta kill him. You gotta act fast. You gotta kill him. And then you progress into the game, and then you meet a different Ed 209 who has much more power on him. He has like bigger cannons and all that stuff. And you gotta kill that one. And I believe there's even in the arcade there's a point where you get to two of them come out at you, like from each side. And it's like, yeah, okay. Every 5 seconds you're putting in another quarter because you're killing it. That doesn't happen in the Nintendo or the Commodore 64. In fact, I think the Commodore 64 version, you don't see Ed 209 until you get to the very end. He comes out just before you have to. He's either the last boss or he's just before the last boss. And I remember when I played, I remember how hard it was. And he doesn't look that impressive on the Commodore 64. He's really tiny compared to Robocop. He's almost the same size. He's really tiny. He comes in and he just shoots it, and he's really hard. I remember it being really, really hard. And so that probably was at a time where I had this game much more figured out. Just like with the Nintendo version, I had that one a little bit more figured out. Just my favorite movie, one of my favorite movies, just like Back to the Future, and I played both of them a lot. Even though the games weren't that good, I still played them. I don't know why. Anyways, yeah. Hope you liked watching me play some video games. I'm always looking for some ideas, too. I kind of threw this out on my Facebook page today, the same day I'm recording this. What should I play? Because I'd also like to hear some feedback with other people and see what they would like to watch me play. Whether it's going to be a game I've never played before, and I don't mind doing that. I actually kind of like doing that, first time ever playing a certain game. I just did it on one of my last, what was it? There was a game I just played, and I never played it. Oh, Excite Bike. I never played it before, and it's kind of fun. It takes you back to when you used to rent these video games, and you would go home and you only had to base it off the cover or whatever. You'd see it in the rental store. You'd be like, "Oh, this looks cool." You get home, you slap it in your Nintendo, and you start playing. And you're like, "What the heck am I doing?" And you didn't always get a, manual with it, so it was always funny when that happened. Well, I just want to say what Rex was saying here. Sorry, I got the chat going on over here, so I'm just kind of watering. I had about 3 people, I think, on the chat, or 2 or 3 people. He says his recommendation is maybe playing a game you didn't like as a kid to see if you like it now, or playing a game you love to see if it holds up. Well, I kind of just did that right now. I used to like playing this Robocop game. Now I'm kind of like, this is really crazy. Actually, both of them, the Commodore one and the Nintendo one, I used to play them a lot, and now I'm just like, they're frustrating. As far as a game I didn't like as a kid, that's a good question. I need to think about that. I didn't have a whole lot of Nintendo games when I got my Nintendo back in, I don't even remember now. It wasn't when it got released, that's for sure. I didn't get a Nintendo until a little bit later on. Probably still in the 80s though. I don't know if it was quite the 90s when I got my Nintendo. Probably like maybe around 88, 89. I might have got my Nintendo. And I stuck to more of, I played Zelda, Zelda 2, Super Mario Brothers 1 and 2, Tetris. I played a lot of Tetris. What else did I play? Star Tropics. Love that game. I played that game a lot. And then just whatever I rented at the time. Whatever I would go to the rental stores and I'd find a game on the shelf and just be like, okay, this looks cool. Rent it. Go and play it. Of course, when I got Super Mario 3, I played that one a lot too. But I mean, at the same time when I had my Nintendo, I was still heavily playing my Commodore 64. So I was playing a lot of Commodore games because I had a lot more games on the Commodore 64. I mean, I had tons of games on the Commodore 64 versus the Nintendo, which, at that time I couldn't afford to always buy all the latest games that came out, right? Which is why we rented. We paid the $4 or $5 or whatever to rent it for the weekend. We didn't have a whole ton of games. It's not like today. Today, people are so lucky today. I mean, you got an emulator. You can. I found a ROM set. It's got like 1,000 Nintendo games on it. So I pretty much have every Nintendo game on my emulator. It's so easy now. Back then, it was like you had your handful or a shoebox of games, and that was all you had. So, I mean, and if the game sucked, you had to live with it. I mean, I wanted so desperately to play Back to the Future, and I rented it, and I remember playing it, and I didn't think it was that bad at the time, and then I finally ended up buying it, and I played it all the time. Another game I actually played all the time, too, was NES Golf. Not the first one, not the black box one, the NES Open, the one with Mario on the front. I played a ton of that. I love that. I don't know why I got into golf, but I mean, Nintendo got me into golf. So I started off playing golf on the Game Boy, and then I moved into the NES Open. I played a ton of that game. I'm not good at golf real life, but I was good at that. I was good at the Nintendo version. And I loved playing it. So that was one of those Nintendo games I just love playing. Even today, I can still play it. I love the game. Let's see what he's got to say now. One of my fondest memories is playing Outrun in the sit-down cabinet at Hills with a cherry ice and a soft pretzel. I don't know how you played that game with all that stuff in your hands, but that's pretty impressive. Is it one of those ones where it's like the cabinet where you sit inside, you got the steering wheel and stuff like that? Or was that Outrun? Yeah, that's the one with the car. Incidentally, can you buy those snack bars, scented candles, popcorn, hot dogs, and pretzels? Okay, that's pretty funny. Anyways, yeah, I hope you like this. That was my attempt. I played Nintendo Robocop. I got pretty far. I didn't think I'd get that far. I really thought I would have lost at this point. I it's been a long time since I played it. And I think it's one of those games where you just got to keep playing it, playing it, playing it, playing it until you get it into your brain, and then you know how to play it from that point on. But because it's been so long, a lot of that was just almost like new to me. And I kind of like that. I like that I feel like I'm starting over again, and it's not like, oh, I'm dead easy. I can remember. So far, the only game I can do that with right now is pretty much Mario 3, and even some of those later levels, I was kind of confused. And then I played a little bit at the end there. I played some Commodore 64, Robocop, just to try and show you the differences and show you how hard that game is. And it is hard. So if you just tuned in now, or if you just tuned in, 5 seconds ago, you'll probably want to go and check that out because that game is hard. If you thought the Nintendo one was hard, check out the N60 or the Commodore 64, not N60, Commodore 64 version because it is hard. And so I played them both, and I didn't get very far on the Commodore 64 version. Anyways, I had a lot of fun playing this. Maybe next Wednesday I'll probably do another live cast because I got more time. And I'll think about what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll do an obscure Commodore 64 game again, or I don't know. I'll figure it out, and it'd be interesting if you can throw some comments out there. Let me know what you think of the games, and throw some suggestions out there what you think it would be fun to play. Anyways, I'm glad you liked the video, or I should say, I hope you liked the video, and hope you subscribe to my channel. Talk to you later.